This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Wow, we love pizza at our house. It just smells so good, it's fun grabbing pieces from each other, and that's what we're going to be doing today, and of course, maybe possibly even eating it. Today we're talking about New York Slice. This is a game by Bezier Games. This is a re-implementation of an older game called Piece o' Cake. So let's see, did they improve the game? Did they change the theme? Is the theme better? Are the mechanics different? Are they better? Let's take a look. I don't often show boxes in detail, but this looks just like a pizza box. It opens just like a pizza box, and inside is probably the most thematic looking rules to a game I've ever seen. This literally looks like a pizza, menu from one of those New York pizza places. It's actually the rules, but man, that is just such a cool touch. Not only that, but the scoring looks like a guest check. Unbelievably awesome job here making this thematic, and of course you got all the slices of pizza in the box there. Now the game consists over 4 to 6 rounds depending on the amount of players, between 2 and 6 players. Each round, a full pizza is going to be placed out like this randomly, and one player is the slicer. That player will need to slice this pizza into the amount of basically groups as there are players. So if we were playing with 4 players, this would need to be sliced up into 4 spots. So it might look something like this. Now, in addition to that, each round there is a today's special. And this special will be sometimes endgame points, sometimes points now, sometimes doing different things. This says dibs. On any future round before the slicer slices, you can call dibs on a slice and take it from the pizza. Well, this special can either be placed with one of these groups, or it could be on its own. You could maybe put this around so there's only 3 groups, and this would be the 4th group by itself. But maybe it places it, something like this. Then, starting with the player to the left of the slicer and going clockwise, each person is going to take one of these groups. That means whoever's slicing gets the last choice, which means they're trying to make it very safe for themselves, trying to make everything good. So each player will then, in clockwise order, take one of these 4 groups. Now, as a player takes a group, they have to choose for each of the slices they've taken what they want to do with it before the next player chooses their group. They have 2 choices. They can either keep it face up, collecting it for sets, trying to get points at the end of the game for having a majority of those type of slices, or they can say, you know what, I'm not going to have the majority, I will eat it and flip it over, because at the end of the game, for each slice that you flipped over, you'll get 1 point for each pepperoni. So this would be 3 points at the end of the game if I flip it over, but now I'm no longer trying to get the pepperoni slices. That is 11. Now these numbers mean something. Number 1, it tells you how many of these slices there are in the game, but it also tells you how many points you'll get if you have the majority. So these are harder to get majority, but they're more points. These are easier to get a majority, but they're less points. So again, they're deciding whether to flip or leave it like that. As you get future slices, let's say we actually had flipped this one and later on we got one of these slices, you keep them face up in front of you and you start putting together a set so everyone can easily see who has how many of each of the sets. Now there are some special slices as well. First we'll start with the Supreme here. This is a wild. If you get this, you automatically attach it to one of your sets and it becomes that set. So this now is a 10, but you have to attach it right when you get it, sort of a wild. There's some combo slices. There's 4 of these actually, and they have 2 different types on there. Essentially they're half slice. So this helps you break ties, because if you had 5s and you had tied with somebody with the sets for 5, then essentially you'd have this as a half slice as a tiebreaker. Because remember, at the end, if you have the majority of any slice, you'll get that many points. So there's 4 different combo slices. Now we get to anchovies. Now anchovies on regular slices like this, if you collect it, meaning you leave it like this and you're trying to collect sets, this will be -1 point. However, if you eat this for pepperoni, you'll still just get a pepperoni 1 point at the end of the game. Then there is the anchovy only slice, which you cannot eat, and it's worth -3 points. So you'll probably put this together something that somebody really wants in order to take that. Once the game is over, again between 4 and 6 rounds depending on the amount of players, basically you're going to score the guest chart. This is amazing. I love this score chart. You're going to go through each number of slice and you're going to see which player had gotten that by circling the numbers, adding up the points. Some of the specials that I'll get to give you special points, and then you'll talk about the amount of pepperonis that you've eaten, minus the amount of anchovies you have left up that you've collected, and the one with the most points wins. Now there's 14 of these, so obviously it's going to be different every game. The blue ones score points at the end of the game. This is -2 points at the end of the game for whoever takes this because it's day-old pizza, but they'll probably put this on something they really want to entice them. Stuffed crust is just 5 points at the end of the game. The everyone else diet. All other players lose a point for every 2 eaten slices rounded down, so that stops people from eating them. You like anchovies, so instead of getting -1, you actually get a point. This will make you want to take anchovy slices. The tiebreaker. Hey, you automatically win tiebreakers. This is very powerful in a game with a lot of players. Mystery slice. Immediately take 1 random hidden slice and collect it or eat it. So there's just some of the things that they can do. All right, well, there is New York Slice. Now, I had played Piece of Cake a few times in the past, and I thought that game was, like, okay. It wasn't one of those ones that, like, left me like, oh, I can't wait to play that again, or oh, I gotta go rush out and buy that one. It was okay, it was fine. I enjoyed it for what it was, but it wasn't one that blew my mind. Then comes along New York Slice, which, I gotta say, the theme is awesome. Gosh, production, Bezier Games knocked it out of the park. I showed you at the beginning of the overview, pizza box. The menu is the rule book, and it really looks like a menu. The pizza just looks beautiful on the table. The cardboard is just really thick. So from a production standpoint, this thing just draws you into it, and it's going to draw other people walking by into it. It's just an amazing looking game. Now, the way that the game plays, they did change some things with it. They added the combo slices, and that's cool because it helps break those ties. They brought in the special Supreme Slice. It's a wild, awesome idea to bring it in. You assign it to something, as you take the pizza. You have the anchovies, that are the minuses. And then you have the big thing of all those different menu specials that change each round. And there's a bunch of them, so every game is going to feel different. And I got to say, when I played this, I had a chance to play this last summer as Ted was sort of prototyping it out. And I was very impressed with it then, and I'm even more impressed with it now having seen the final copy. And it's to the point where, again, I thought the original Piece of Cake was okay, but this really, between the production and the additional mechanisms, makes me really love this game to the point where it's gonna be kept in my gaming library. And there were some different things in the mechanics as well. Like in Piece of Cake, you could actually split it into less people than there were, and then you could just eat slices that you had before. And they kind of took that out. And I'm glad they did. They made it more streamlined, because that didn't happen too often, and it just makes it a lot easier to explain. So overall, I really like this. Overall, I think it's a lot better than Piece of Cake. I think it's a great implementation of this. And for that, let's induct it properly with a saxophone serenade.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for backing me on Kickstarter and making this season become a reality. I'd like to especially thank those here that have backed me at the credit level. Now, these video reviews are also available by audio on our podcast. It's the intros and the final thoughts on GameBoyGeek.com. Click podcast.